Hello, y'all. Okay, this gorgeous creature here.
Coming from you, that's quite a compliment.
No, this Rebecca Holden. Y'all probably remember her from Knight Rider, but she's Elena on General
She
Hospital.
was a wicked character on that show. It's fun to play me.
Diabolical.
She gets her just rewards in the end.
I mean, you've done so much. You've done tons of TV, tons of movies, but you're also just a beautiful singer and songwriter, and you do so much, and a classical pianist. I mean, you do a little bit of everything. What's your favorite thing to do in the whole world?
I think music is the root of it all. I started studying piano and then later voice and was in the choir and all the church singing groups and everything from a small child. And music has just always spoken to my heart. And I think it's the ultimate healer. You know, it's been said that music has the ability to bypass the brain and the intellect and speak directly at our heart level and communicate with our subconscious, and that gives it this enormous healing energy, which I think our world is going to need. So yes, I love doing all the television. I did so many commercials out of New York when I was up there studying music, continuing my studies, and was discovered and put on under contract as a Breck girl for Breck shampoo, and then that led to lots of other commercials, and then Aaron Spelling, the TV producer in LA, who was so prolific and had so many shows on the air, saw one of my spots that aired on the Super Bowl, brought me to the West Coast, and I had this wonderfully and gratifyingly amazing television career that I had really never counted on, because music was the way I thought of myself. But music has always stayed in the mix. So.
Well, now you've got a new film coming out, though, with Kevin Sorbo, our buddy Kevin Sorbo.
We have that one in development. Just finished one called Canaanland, a faith-based film. I play a gospel singer and evangelist, and she has sort of a pure heart, and as opposed to her nemesis, which he's one of those con men type televangelists. So it's stirring up a lot of discussion, which is a good thing. But it was a fun film to do, and then now we have a new one in development with Kevin, and I'm looking forward to that. Yeah, it's really, I feel so blessed to be doing what I'm doing, and you know, sometimes God has different plans for us than we had anticipated, and this career has been a real blessing in my life, and I find joy every day. Choose joy. I understand joy is your favorite word. Yeah,
I was going to say that.
joy in every moment. Yeah.
Yes, we do. Now, I didn't realize this, but so you went to North Texas State University when it was called that, right?
Yes.
So did I.
No kidding. And they had the 1 o'clock lab bands there, you know. But I was in and out a lot because I was studying with privately in New York at the same time. But it was we're both Texas girls.
And you were Miss Dallas, and I was Miss Lake of the Pines, so we were both in the Miss Texas pageant, right?
Goodness, we have a lot in common. We have so much in common. We could talk for days and days and days. But I'm sure that you found this is true. No matter where you travel in the world, if you meet a fellow Texan, somehow there's an instant bond, isn't there? And if they ask you where you're from, you kind of say Texas even before you say the United States. Yeah, there's something about coming from Texas, but maybe that's why we hit it off so well instantly. Yeah.
You were also, though, baby Miss Texas.
Yes. My mom enjoyed those things, but you know what? I think all those were opportunities to sort of learn poise and to be able to speak in front of a crowd and help you in all aspects of your life, you know, and get over any shyness that you may have. So I think that's kind of things that we should aim for, is to kind of, you know, stretch out of our comfort zone, and competition is a way to do that, and just be the best that you can be. That sounds kind of trite, but expand your horizons every day, and it leads to lots of adventures.
It really does, and I don't think a lot of people, they think of pageants as something that's, you know, hokey and stupid, but I mean, for me, from a tiny little town, Hughes Springs, Texas is where I lived, and then Hughes Springs is about 250 miles from anywhere in Texas.
Okay. Well, my grandparents had a farm out in Gulfweight, Texas, when the big city was Brownwood. So I kind of know from which you speak. Yes, yeah.
But I mean, it's like I wouldn't have had any other way to understand a huge stage like the Miss Texas pageant or that kind of an audience, because I was an aspiring actress, and to have that kind of a stage and to be able to interview with, and it's an intimidating interview at the Miss Texas pageant.
You had to study. You had to know about the world because you didn't know what you were going to be asked. So you had to know everything, right?
I didn't know this is horrible because I've written 2 political books, but I didn't know. I had to look up what was the difference between a Democrat and a Republican.
Oh my.
We're not going to do politics right now, but
we can if you'd like. As you know, I'm very bold and outspoken, but I was very blessed in that as a little girl, we had lots of family discussions around the dinner table about America and why this is such a great country and why people were willing to die for the values and the principles that we Americans hold. So I feel very grateful for my upbringing and the way I was raised and raised in church. And you mentioned the pageants, the scholarships, that they were, and I'm sure you were entered the ones with the talent competition. So it made you perform and gave you, if we set goals for ourselves, you just stretch a little every day. Yeah.
I can't believe with all your accomplishments that I'm sitting here talking to Rebecca Holden about beauty pageants. But I mean, this woman is so well-rounded and talented. I mean, classically trained pianist and vocalist and everything else, and such a wonderful human being. And you do really amazing philanthropy work too, philanthropist work, I should say. But I mean, what drives you? This is my last question to you. But what drives you to do? You do, I mean, a lot of really great charity work. Why do you do so much? Why?
I think if we have the ability to give, that's just what you do. I work with a wonderful organization in Los Angeles called the All Together Now Foundation. And we did a big Christmas, because we haven't had any concerts this past year or so with all the lockdowns. So we've done a lot of online telethons. And we did a Christmas one to raise money for the kids at Christmas. We just did one for COVID relief. I won't talk about COVID, but that's a whole other chapter. Certification of vaccine identification, AI. They've built a homeless shelter. They support the homeless shelter, and these are the best musicians in Los Angeles, touring musicians, the best studio players, and they play because they love to play, and then they play because it's a good cause, So it gives us all a reason to get together and do a little something better for the world.
Rebecca Holden, she is so much more than just a gorgeous, perfect face with no pores whatsoever.
Here's something else, you gorgeous thing.